Imagine being stranded in the middle of nowhere. No land in sight, no help coming, just you and the endless blue. Now imagine that nowhere is the Pacific Ocean, a place so vast it's bigger than all the land on Earth combined. Sounds terrifying, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to this brave guy. He got lost in this massive ocean and survived for 438 days. How? That's the crazy part. His story is so unbelievable, you'll be on the edge of your seat. Ready to hear how he did it? Let's dive in. Jose was a 36-year-old fisherman from a small village in Mexico called Costa del Sol. On November 17, 2012, he set out on what was supposed to be a routine fishing trip. He was accompanied by a younger fisherman, and their plan was simple: spend 30 hours at sea, catch some fish, and return home. They didn't pack much, just a day's worth of food and water. Their boat was small, only 7 feet long, with a single engine and a refrigerator to store their catch. It was a trip they had done countless times before, but this time, everything went wrong. About 120 kilometers off the Mexican coast, a sudden and terrifying storm hit. The waves were monstrous, and the wind was relentless. To save themselves, they abandoned their fishing nets and tried to steer the boat back to shore. For 6 hours, they fought against the storm, inching closer to land. By 6 a.m., they were just 20 kilometers away from the shore. They could see their village in the distance. But then, disaster struck. The boat's engine broke down. They had no oars, no sails, and no way to control the boat's direction. They were at the mercy of the ocean. They did have a radio, though, and they used it to send their location to their boss. They waited for a response, hoping for rescue. But then, the radio's battery died. Their last lifeline to the outside world was gone. Strong winds began pushing them back into the ocean, and the shore they had been so close to started drifting away. Their boss organized a search party, but it was too late. The ocean had claimed them. By the 5th day, they were 450 kilometers away from shore. They were now in a part of the ocean where, no matter which direction they looked, there was only water. Their boat was too small to be spotted from a distance. They had no flares, no way to make smoke signals, and no means of communication. The food and water they had brought were gone. Survival seemed impossible, but Jose and his companion weren't ready to give up just yet. To survive, they started catching birds that landed on their boat and eating them raw. They also caught fish from the ocean and ate them uncooked. Drinking seawater is deadly, so they collected rainwater in plastic bottles they found floating in the ocean. When it didn't rain for days, they had no choice but to drink the blood of fish and turtles whenever they managed to catch one. It was a brutal existence, and the mental toll was unimaginable. Days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months. The isolation, the hunger, the thirst. It was too much for Jose's companion to bear. On May 4th, 2013, he gave up. He couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide. Now Jose was completely alone. According to scientists, Jose had drifted into a part of the Pacific Ocean known as the quietest place on Earth. It's an area where even cargo ships rarely pass. More than 6 months had passed since he left Mexico, and he had lost his only companion. But Jose refused to give up. One day, he saw a cargo ship in the distance. For the first time in months, he felt hope. He frantically waved his hands and signaled for help. But the ship's crew didn't see him. The ship sailed away, and Jose's hopes were shattered once again. After 11 months, Jose had drifted over 8,000 kilometers. His clothes were tattered, and he had nothing to protect himself from the harsh sun except a small piece of cloth. But then finally, his luck changed. After 14 months at sea, he noticed coconuts floating in the water. He realized that an island must be nearby because the coconuts had likely fallen from palm trees. Soon, he spotted land. Fearing that he might miss the island, he jumped in the water and swam toward it. After 438 days, he set foot on solid ground for the first time. The island he had reached was a remote part of the Marshall Islands, known as Ibon Atoll. It was 11,000 kilometers away from where he had started. If he had missed this island, the next landmass was the Philippines, another 5,000 kilometers away. Jose found a small hut where a local resident was present. For the first time in 438 days, Jose made contact with another human being. He was rescued and sent back home, but his troubles didn't end there. Upon returning, Jose published a book titled 438 Days, detailing his incredible survival story. But not everyone believed him. He was accused of murdering his companion and had to face a lawsuit. Even though his companion had actually committed suicide, the accusations added another layer of hardship to José's already difficult life. Despite the challenges, José's story remains one of the most incredible tales of human survival. Now, let's talk about some fascinating facts about the Pacific Ocean that make José's survival even more astonishing. Did you know that the Pacific Ocean is home to the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the world's oceans? It's so deep that if you were to place Mount Everest inside of it, the peak would still be over 2,000 meters below the surface. The pressure at the bottom of the trench is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. It's a place so hostile that only a handful of manned expeditions have ever reached its depths. Another interesting fact is that the Pacific Ocean is shrinking. Due to plate tectonics, the Pacific Ocean is getting smaller by about 2.5 centimeters per year. This is because the Pacific plate is being subducted, or pushed under, other plates. In contrast, the Atlantic Ocean is actually getting wider. This slow but constant movement of Earth's crust is something that's happening right now, even as you watch this. The Pacific Ocean is also home to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a massive collection of floating plastic and debris. It's estimated to be twice the size of Texas and contains over 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic. This garbage patch is a stark reminder of the impact humans have on the environment. It's also a place where survival would be nearly impossible, as the debris makes it difficult for marine life to thrive. Now, let's go back to José's story. One of the most remarkable aspects of his survival was his ability to adapt. He had no formal training in survival techniques, yet he managed to find ways to stay alive. For example, he used the bones of the fish he caught to make hooks, allowing him to catch more fish. He also used the skin of turtles to protect himself from the sun. These small but crucial adaptations made all the difference. Another key factor in José's survival was his mental strength. Being alone at sea for over a year is enough to drive anyone mad. The isolation, the constant fear of death, and the lack of human contact would break most people. But José found ways to keep his mind occupied. He talked to himself, imagined conversations with his family, and even created routines to give his days structure. This mental resilience was just as important as his physical survival skills. José's story also highlights the importance of hope. Even when all seemed lost, he never gave up. The sight of the cargo ship, even though it didn't rescue him, gave him the strength to keep going. The coconuts floating in the water were a sign that land was nearby, and that hope kept him alive. It's a reminder that no matter how dire the situation, there's always a chance for survival if you hold on to hope. Now, let's talk about the Marshall Islands, where José finally found rescue. The Marshall Islands are a remote island nation in the Pacific Ocean, made up of 29 atolls and 5 isolated islands. The total population is around 60,000 people, and the islands are known for their stunning coral reefs and rich marine life. Marshall Islands are also at risk from rising sea levels due to climate change, making them a symbol of the challenges faced by small island nations. José's rescue was nothing short of a miracle. After 438 days at sea, he was finally able to set foot on land. The local residents of Ibon Atoll took care of him, providing food, water, and medical attention. He was eventually flown back to Mexico, where he was reunited with his family. But the journey didn't end there. José had to face skepticism and accusations, but he never wavered in his story. His book, 438 Days, became a bestseller, and his story inspired millions around the world. In conclusion, José Salvador Alvarenga's survival story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. It's a story of resilience, adaptability, and hope. It's also a reminder of the power of the ocean, a place that can be both beautiful and deadly. José's journey is one that will be remembered for generations, not just for its incredible survival aspects, but for the lessons it teaches us about perseverance and the will to live. So what do you think? Could you survive 438 days at sea? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.